Democratic Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland. Senator Cardin, good evening.
Joshua, it's good to be with you. Thank you.
Before we get to some viewer questions, let me just get your reaction to some of our latest reporting about the conversations that went on with law enforcement before Wednesday's attack. What do you make of that?
Well, clearly they were not prepared, and they had information. They didn't act on that information. There's clearly going to be an investigation to make sure that we get to the bottom of what went wrong in order to protect ourselves moving forward. I think our first priority right now is to make sure that we have secured the Capitol, not just for the members of Congress, but we have an inauguration taking place on January the 20th. So we want to make sure that we have the right intelligence and the right protection moving forward. But we also want accountability. And accountability means those that were responsible for breaking into the Capitol, those who participated in this insurrection need to be held accountable, and accountability for the President of the United States for the role that he played in inciting this insurrection.
One factor in holding the president and others responsible accountable is just the timeline of Congress. Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, said this about the nature of that timeline, particularly as it relates to the beginning of the Biden administration. Watch.
Well, first of all, we're a country. The rule of law is who we are. That's our bedrock. And that means no person's above the law. If people have died, and we know they have, and all the damage that was done, and insurrection on our own Capitol, someone has to be held accountable for that so it never happens again, or it doesn't come within our borders, within our country. That has to stop and never can be allowed. So I would think that that would be a better position to take, and that'd be a better route to go, versus taking a political route. And everyone believes that in impeachment, it's a political route, even though we know there's a purpose and a reason for us to do it, because there has been a violation. But that basically stops us from putting a government together. And Joe Biden, first thing he needs to do, put his people in, get him confirmed. That should be the first thing we're doing the first week.
Senator Cardin, what do you make of that?
Well, I know what Senator Manchin is saying. We need to do both. We clearly need to make sure that President Biden on January 20th, that we are in process of giving him the cabinet confirmed positions as quickly as possible, and that we are ready to respond to the challenges of COVID-19 and the other challenges of our country. But the president needs to be held accountable. The best thing that could happen would be for Vice President Pence, along with the Republican leadership in Congress, meet with the president and really impress upon him the need for him to resign, and at least try to do it that way, because that's the fastest way and we could get it done this week. The second best way would be to use the 25th Amendment, and there's going to be a lot of interest in that this week. To move through impeachment, Senator Manchin is correct. There's no way we could complete the impeachment process before January the 20th. So this will be after Donald Trump is no longer president of the United States.
Let's go through some of our viewers' questions, particularly with the talk of the 25th Amendment. A few people online pointed this out to me. This is a part of the Constitution I did not know, but Harold asked about this. Harold asks, can the leaders of both chambers, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and the future Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, invoke the 14th Amendment against each member of both chambers for their role in the incitement of insurrection, like Senators Cruz and Hawley? For those of you who aren't familiar with the 14th Amendment, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment basically says that if you are an office holder and you have helped engage in insurrection or rebellion or given aid or comfort to the enemies of the United States, you are automatically disqualified from running for office again. There's no process. It ain't got to go up for a vote. There doesn't have to be a hearing. You have disqualified yourself from ever running for office again. Senator, what do you make of that?
Well, that's what the 14th Amendment says. So it is a disqualifying aspect. If you've taken the oath of office and you have subverted the Constitution, you lose your right to hold that office. The challenge, of course, is how do you implement that? And will it apply to members of the Congress? Clearly, we have an issue with the President of the United States. That issue will be resolved by the 20th. He'll no longer hold office. But there are other consequences that need to be dealt with, and I've already covered that. As far as the sitting members of Congress, each are going to have to be able to justify their actions as to whether they complied with the Constitution of the United States.
Last quick question, Senator. Very briefly, Diana asks, what are the penalties going to be for the Republicans in the House and Senate for inciting with their lies? It is a time for healing, but what you don't acknowledge, you cannot change. Senator, that goes to some of the calls from some members of Congress that we just need to move on and maybe deal with this a little bit later.
Well, there's no question that needs to be accountability. I've said frequently we're all beholden to our voters, and I would hope that the constituents would hold their members fully accountable for their actions during this past week. But there should be other consequences, and that's being looked at.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.